Welcome everyone to another Stock Market Open live stream. Today is the day of the debate. We've got a pretty big presidential debate coming up. It is coming up in actually about 12 hours from now, which is pretty wild. So it's going to be a pretty crazy day. I'm pretty excited for that. We do have, I don't like the little boundaries there on the side. Looks like I messed up my resolution a little bit. But anyway, we've got a little bit of a bounce there on BTC. And look at where it bounced to. It's really quite remarkable. It just ran from the hole that it was in of the 60 sort of 500 level. It ran all the way up to 61.7 and got rejected. I mean, it's literally a perfect bounce within $2.50. So once again, the lines. Anyway, so we've got Nvidia here that's down a little bit in pre-market right now, down about 83 basis points. You've got Tesla, it's down about 27. It was down much more, and it looks like it's starting to sort of trend up into the open. We'll see if that can continue. Micron was down as much as 8% both before and after. Both before and after the earnings call yesterday. After the actual earnings release, they had a little bit of a bounce and some hope there for a moment, but you did get a bit of a bounce on Micron. And the Micron earnings were really mostly at expectations. If anything, they beat on certain levels, except what you had was, remember when Nvidia reports earnings, you have a company that needs to outperform by more than, say, 8%, right? Wall Street's already calculating in that we expect that what the expectation is, you're going to beat by a certain percentage. And so I think that's what was missed here by Micron. Again, BTC right below this 61.7 level. It would be, in my opinion, a bullish tailwind if we could break through this. You've got a firm at 121 to the downside. End phase up about 0.5% here. Robinhood's up about 0.5% as well. Amazon is up again, 63 basis points after being up 3.9% yesterday. It's a pretty dang big deal. Then you've got, let's see, Carnival 0.38 here. Microsoft is about 5 basis points. So some movers here. Going into the day, you've got Burke down about 0.6, but that's I don't actually think they list pre-market. And then DJT, keep in mind today is debate day, is sitting, keeps getting rejected here by about the $41 level. So we'll see what happens with this. But obviously the big story of the day today is going to be the debate. We'll be covering the debate, so stay tuned. I'll be adding a lot of commentary and live stream goodies. We did start this stream a little later today, mostly because we were up until like 3:30 or something ridiculous. So on a sliver of sleep here, which makes it a little less, makes things a little less functional, but it's okay. We'll function as best as possible. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. So excited for the day. And we did also get estimates on GD Pizzle. Quarter over quarter annualized GDP came in bang on expectations at 1.4 versus the 1.4 expected. GDP price index, though, came in a smidgen hot. Looking for 3%. We ended up getting 3.1. On the core factor, we got 3.7 versus 3.6. So, you know, we get that sort of like one little smidge there of extra nonsense, which we don't like. And then personal consumption also missed. Personal consumption came in at just 1.5% versus 2% expected. So unfortunately, you have this sort of, both sides of the spectrum kind of worse news there. That is a worse consumption and also worse on the inflation numbers. And then GDP itself came in balanced or on expectations. So that can be important. You want to see if I can fix the resolution of this thing. It's bothering me. You would like to see those price numbers come in a little lower. We generally don't want to see any kind of indicator of warmer inflation. Though it doesn't seem like the market's horribly concerned about it, it is something you want to pay attention to. So, okay, let's see here. Let's get that resolution fixed. I think that... no, I still have... oh, how weird. I don't think I always had those. No, I definitely didn't always have these little banner thingies. I'll figure that out. I don't know, it drives me nuts. Yeah. All right, let's take a listen over here and see what we got.
You look at how these two candidates have prepped for this debate. Joe Biden has hunkered down at Camp David and done it in a very traditional manner. He's looked at briefing books. He's done mock debates. Donald Trump hasn't done that. He's sort of flouted that. So I think we're going to see a kind of continuation of that. There is this facet, this rule that the microphones can be muted by the moderators. And when you look back at the last two debates these candidates have had, there were all of these verbal interjections that took place. They're really kind of the signal moments, the things that we remember from those debates. Either they'll be inaudible tonight or difficult to hear if one microphone is silenced, but it's certainly going to change kind of the tenor of it.
That'll be fascinating. Also, I'm interested to know who Donald Trump will choose as his running mate. I thought we might get that announcement before the debate. I suppose there's still time, right? About 10 hours, I think. CNN has got a countdown clock running already.
Countdown clock, yes. They've teased this, and there will be a viewing party tonight that Kelly Loeffler, who is the former senator from Georgia, is hosting at her home in Georgia. And those four kind of front runners or finalists for that VP nomination are all going to be there. They're going to act as surrogates right after the debate, then they'll be at that viewing party. So it is something that he has teased in recent days, that announcement could be coming sooner rather than later. I guess that's another thing that we'll have to wait and see if anything materializes on that front tonight as well, Matt.
David, very much looking forward to it. I'll be tuning in for your coverage tonight live.
Okay, I'm going to make a prediction now. Donald Trump walks off the stage. Okay? My prediction. So it's 6:23 a.m. here. We're roughly 12 hours away from the debate. I think he's going to get so pissed off that they keep muting his mic. He's just going to be like, F this, F CNN. These are some rigged mofos. Goodbye. Just a prediction. I don't know. I don't know. Because they're kind of right. You know, we haven't had this before where, like, usually in debates... You kind of have to like balance, like, first of all, the fireworks are kind of fun, but then it's also like, how do they handle themselves? It's sort of like part of the test. So this whole muting mic thing, I don't know, man. I don't know. Somebody here says, nah, attention is money to humans. So imagine the attention. Trump storms off. And you got to do it like 60% of the way through, right? Because if you storm off in the last 5%, you kind of just stormed off to storm off. Like, you got to get like cut off by them, like really aggravated, and you know, have them try to pull something silly on you. Especially, you know, CNN v. Trump. Like, that would be when it would happen. It'd be really entertaining. All right. Anyway, all these news companies, speaking of them, they're uncommercial as usual and as always. There's so many ads, so ridiculous. Okay, so that's GDP. We talked about that slight inflationary pressure there. We've got some reports now that there might be a little bit more selling in some of the big tech names that have grown so much by commodities and trading association traders, mostly because these advisors are seeing that some of the positioning that we have is heavily skewed towards these mega cap 6 names, mag 6 names, I should say. You know, mag 7 minus Tesla. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to end up happening. I mean, I believe it for NVIDIA, but it certainly felt like money was flowing right into Amazon, and that money's been flowing into Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta. I mean, these are like the ones where you're trying to trade stocks, and then you look, and then you're like, oh, right, they're up 1 to 2% every day. That's sort of just what it feels like. Let's listen in here for a moment.
This morning. Historically, debates don't seem to make that much difference to the market, you know, the day after. But do you think this one might be different?
I think it might be, Stuart. I think it might solidify some things. People out there are already thinking about either candidate, and they can vote their minds, consciences, and hearts clearly after tonight. I think that's going to happen. We've looked back at the data all the way back to Nixon Kennedy debates, and looked at what happened one day, 5 days, 10 days after. You're right, not much difference after 10 days, a little bit of a pop, but the day after, about a 58% chance of the market being up.
Okay, let's move on to your stock picks. Starting with Intel. Okay, you like them?
Well, I do like them, and I hope Adam's not snickering next to you in the chair, but here's why. All of that chip money that's flowing in, the support money for U.S. chip makers.
Yeah, the problem is, I'll tell you this, it's going to take way longer than we expected. You know, we thought we'd start seeing some of the profitability of this, you know, by like 27. Intel's like, nah, it's going to be like 2030. Before we really start seeing the profitability. Boy, that just tanked the stock when they did that. I mean, it went from like $48 to like 32 or whatever it is. It's intense. That's a pretty big move for really what's like a value stock like Intel, which, you know, maybe is starting to show characteristics of its value trap attitude. Wholesale inventories, by the way, came in pretty good at 0.6. We were expecting 0.1, so that's some good restocking. Retail inventories at 0.7 versus 0.3 expected. Jobless claims coming in at 233,000. We were expecting 235, so this wasn't a huge surprise. However, continuing claims did come in a smidge higher, about 11,000 higher from 1828, but we did also get a revision down in the prior of about 7,000 on continuing claims, whereas we had it up about 1,000 for the initial claims. Durable good orders actually came in positive at 0.1. We were looking for negative 0.5. And when you remove transportation, we actually went right back to negative, got that negative 0.2 level. So transportation looks like helped us go positive. And capital good orders, non-defensive, excluding air, did come in low at negative 0.6 versus the 0.1 expected. So a little bit of economic data there. It's somewhat of a mixed bag in terms of what we got. Now, we do have the bell and the good old open coming up here in, gosh, already about 50 seconds. So it feels like we got a little bit of a short, fused intro there. Again, sorry. But that's all right. We will we'll be able to enjoy the market open together. And yeah, that now is about 30 seconds away. All right, folks, it looks like we've got a drop on DJT into the open. We've got a drop on Tesla into the open. We've got, a large drop on NVIDIA into the open. We've got a slight reject on BTC into the open. Which way will we go?
15 million priced at 21, top of the range.
There you go. We need them. And typically, by the way, we should be done the IPO period because it's the summer. It's good to see some resurgence. And if we do get the M&A, then we're really going to understand why you should own the banks here. M&A has been absent, really absent, probably the worst I've ever seen. IPO's absent. Can you imagine if we start getting those, what these banks can do? So don't give up on the banks. And the stress test, look.
Yes, Jimbo, don't give up on the banks, he says. All right, y'all, let's see what we got here. So we've got Tesla. starting to form a little bit of a red candle here. You know, the first few minutes of trade are always kind of entertaining. Micron, though, ooh, straight down there on Micro. A little bit of a bearish signal going into the market. Oh, there's a nice green candlestick on Tesla. Let's see if that can survive. You've got, Rivian drops another 6%. Oh, it's not great for Rivian. You've got a firm's, gosh, that has no idea which direction it wants to go. NVIDIA is trying to figure out a direction. Are we going to go to 125 or not? It's a pretty big, pretty important line for NVIDIA, so we'll see if it can pull it off. You've got BTC staying rejected under that level. Tesla's, it's not a great candle. Would prefer some green here. We've got 48 bips on ENF. You've got Hood. Robinhood is down 13 bips. NVIDIA wants to try to push here, it feels like. Coinbase moving. Amazon, look at Amazon again. It moves. I don't know what this is, but boy, oh boy, this one is just a mover and a shaker. As I say that, it red candlesticks, which is also not quite unusual. But let's listen to Jimbo for a sec to see if he's got anything good to say.
It will be number 2, but the margins are great, so it's really, in my eyes, the secret sauce. By the way, Tim Cook, when you talked about services and you say, I once said to him that, hey, maybe it's a razor blade model. He said, we're a tech company, which meant, Jim, I know you want to go with the consumer product good, but that's not who we are. We make the best technology, and we care about privacy, and if people buy our services, fantastic. And that's Tim's view, and I like it.
The top Dow names of the moment. Apple.
Tim Cook mentioned there, and shout out by Jim Cramer. While at the same time, you are still getting red candle on Nvidia, red candle on Tesla. It looked like it was just going green there for a second. I was trying. And BTC is trying to break. That is bullish direction on BTC. Not seeing that enthusiasm at some plays here, though. Yeah, Amazon's having a hard time holding it. Apple's having a hard time holding it. The Qs are trying. They really want to go up. They just want to have a good day. Palantir's running up, coming up on a reject here. About 24.28 for a reject. There's a green candle on Tesla. Oh, there it goes. There she blows. It's trying, at least. So we'll see what Tesla does here. Also watching closely NVIDIA. It's also trying to get a green candle in there. Can it hold? Okay. Then Amazon's pumping. Apple's pumping. Look at the Q's pump. Holy smokes. You know, when the indices are pumping, it's just because everybody's just buying up everything out here. What's the phrase? Hide your kids, hide your wife, they be buying everything out here? Oh, man, dude, Microsoft is skyrocketing faster than NVIDIA or Tesla or some of these others. What is this craziness? Oh, my
Johnson
God.
will have an amazing story to tell.
Yeah, yesterday it was a different note, but today it's UBS talking about they're only, 10%, I think, of the cruise business?
Yeah, well, they're going to almost double the size of their fleet, and we look at Carnival up ever since. The stock is stock. I understand that. There are a lot of people who don't believe. There are a lot of people who say it really is the -7 median number for linear. Look, linear is awful. I mean, honestly, you could close linear because you have all these things that used to be these great loss leaders so that you could watch your cop fire hospital chain story. But you know what? If I'm going to do that model worked for 30 years. It doesn't work anymore. Look, I think at this point I really care. I just want to tell the truth.
I think that's not a surprise.
It's what I do.
To viewers, yeah.
Okay, at this point in my career, if I can't tell the truth, then what the hell am I doing?
Right. No, I think that people understand the cable model was a beautiful model.
It was a great model.
Had a shelf life.
Because you got to watch anything about a fire. Anyway, you could like Chicago arson, Chicago matches. It didn't matter. Why was it always in Chicago, for heaven's sake? Because of the funny hats?
Middle of the country. Dick Wolf.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's, I like that. Dick Wolf made a little summit.
Alrighty, looking for some more direction. Still waiting to kind of get it. It's still barcoding in some different directions here. Micron's trying to figure it out. Tesla's trying to figure it out. Rivian's down about 7.6 right now. Nvidia doesn't really have the steam to keep it up. Apple's kind of hitting a ceiling. Amazon's sort of hitting a ceiling. Coinbase is actually trying to break through the 218 level. The coins continue to rocket. Meta is really about roughly just like straight up, and so is Facebook. Well, duh, that's the same thing. Microsoft, though. Microsoft's starting to hit a little bit of a ceiling as well. Let's try to see how that continues to go. You've got, let's see what else you have here. It looks like Salesforce is trying to pump it up a little bit out of nowhere. Okay, all right.
Pretty good at track. We always had stop pre-shirts on, and pre was the pre to Nike being great. It was a great running shoe, so it was disappointing to read that article about how they've left their core. We do need to see the China numbers. Anything China is bad.
In Shoe Dog, Phil Knight talks about why he chose China, and his answer is always 2 billion feet.
Oh, yeah, no, and that is I had him on. He didn't want to come on, but I had him on for Mad Money, and I gave him 2 segments. Like, I've given Tim Cook 2 segments and Phil Knight 2 segments. I mean, Tim knows Nike pretty well. And I just think that, and Mark Parker knows that.
Yes.
I think that Shoe Dog is
Boring. Changing the channel.
Quite right. I did not know that.
Loose-fitting denim midi skirts.
Thank you very much indeed.
You're
and
welcome.
Levi's is down 16%. There you go. Coming up, here's what we have for you. Bill Maher says people with aggressive left-wing politics are actually turning voters to Trump. Roll it.
Ooh.
Everything is like, you don't get it, Mom. That's old thinking. And I'm like, don't get what? Abolish the police? Tear down statues of Lincoln? Maybe give communism another shot? It's not that I'm old. It's that your ideas are stupid.
You know, for a liberal,
Book him.
the guy makes a lot of sense, doesn't he? You know? Joe Concha's got a lot to say about Bill Maher. He's on the show a bit later. That will be Joe Concha on the show a bit later. A violent Venezuelan gang reportedly...
That's pretty fair. Like that idea. Your ideas are stupid. I gotta check out the whole interview. Anyway, all right. Let's listen in over here.
Asset strategy, and Lee, of course, we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff as well.
Okay.
Not just AI. But you can't ignore what some have called the most important stock in the world. That's NVIDIA. The others that, have gained on the AI craze, hardware and software, data centers, energy producers. What do you think about all of this? Is it here to stay, or is it like the dot-com bubble where, we're using the internet for sure, but the stocks are just overvalued and need to retrace some of their gains?
The difference between now and the dot-com bubble is the companies now, they're making money. If you think back to the dot-com era, those companies weren't making money. They didn't make money for years. The ones that survived are now very successful and very big companies. The ones we're talking about now with AI, they're making money. They're printing money every day. So there is a big difference. Look, valuations are stretched. We know that. But it's sort of, we don't know how big this thing can be. And until we do, then I think, these stocks are going to find support. Whenever you get any dips, you're going to see buyers come in because the longer-term trend is still in favor of the AI revolution.
It's a good point. A lot of people have been saying, investors were waiting for an entry, and if you, loft off $430 billion from NVIDIA, that sure looks like one to me. Although we heard from Goldman Sachs that hedge funds were selling tech aggressively, retail investors were piling into the ETFs. Is it a little bit scary when the smart money is selling?
Depends which you define as the smart money.
I know.
It is, but I mean, I think, again, the valuation argument has become very strong for them in terms of, this is overvalued. They've had a very good run. But as I say, there are still some very, very successful investors who are still buying these stocks, and I think will continue to buy. So I'm not that worried about it. Even if the stock market generally comes down, I think you're going to see these AI-related stocks still outperform. Demand for their product is pretty inelastic, even in an economic slowdown. Everyone wants to be in this market. So, they've got huge cash piles, so higher for longer on rates, they're going to make money on their interest. So, you know, they're insulated from a large degree from the economy. So I think they're going to continue to outperform.
I was listening yesterday to Masters in Business, great podcast that Barry Ritholtz does. And last year he was talking to Tom Wagner about the early 2000s when telecoms were laying down fiber for like thousands of dollars on the mile. And eventually, they sold that for pennies on the dollar, right? But thank goodness that capacity was there because the internet needed it. Is that what we're seeing now, you think, in memory or some of the other picks and shovels that are needed for AI?
In terms of putting the groundwork in for what we need? Yes,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's exactly what we're seeing.
Paying way too much to put the groundwork in. Are investors, you know, a little bit exuberant here?
There will be pockets of exuberance. There will be companies that don't survive. There will be those that don't turn a profit to the degree that people expect. But then, you know, you will have companies that the Amazons of this world and others that are hugely successful over the longer term. And it's a question, you're not going to pick all the winners.
Yep.
But you want to have a bunch of them so that if you get the winners, they're going to really offset anything you lose on, quite honestly.
Good point.
That's a good way to put it. Okay, let's try to understand a little bit of the trend here. It's a messy one, frankly. It's messy right now. It's not like very, very clear. Trying to see where it is. This is quite a bit of barcoding here on Tesla. Not great. It's really got to kind of create a floor here. Looks like it bounced right off my 194.08. I don't even know why I have that line there, but it's a dark purple, so it's probably something I drew yesterday. You've got NVIDIA playing that 125 line, breaking through it to the downside right now. ARM's giving up. Rivian, 6.8. You've got BTC sitting over here at 31.7. Let's try what somebody here say. Walgreens taking WA. You've got 23.6 over here. You've got, okay, all right. We're going to get a little Tesla move here or not? Take a peek at that. And NVIDIA, not a lot of momentum. Little momentumless this morning. This is very interesting. Usually we get a little bit more movement in sort of one direction here. Let's look at Meta. Meta sort of gave up its run there at about 1.5%. Microsoft sort of hit a wall a little bit. Snowflake hit a wall a little bit. Salesforce wants to keep going, which is good for Salesforce. Oh, is that what I think it is? Is that Tesla trying to wake up? Oh my lordy. Let's take a peek at what it does here. Is it going to be able to gain the lead? That's what we're looking for. Can Tesla gain the lead? We shall see. I don't know if it can, but we will observe, good friends. Alrighty. Let's jump in over here for a moment, see what we got.
However, before Mayorkas's arrival here in Arizona, a Border Patrol agent told us on the record that it's just too early to tell whether President Biden's executive orders can be attributed to that decrease in illegal migrant encounters.
For us, it's just too soon to attribute the decrease to the executive order alone when before that, the numbers had already been decreasing. So I just can't make that determination. It's just too soon.
Now, legal migrant encounters have
like a kind of a expected, I feel like, politically neutral answer from Border Patrol there.
At about 475 a day. We got to shadow Border Patrol as they strategically try to track down those gotaways. We're in a hot spot for illegal crossing activity in Nogales, Arizona. This valley right now is being stationed by Border Patrol agents in cars. They're also using ATVs and horses, binoculars, basically playing a game of cat and mouse, trying to track down the
Boys and
runners.
girls.
And just a staggering figure for you, U.S. Customs and Border Protection says it intercepted 2 million fentanyl pills here at the Nogales legal point of entry this month alone. Back to you.
2 million, good Lord. All right, Matt, thank you very much indeed. That's a staggering number indeed. Well, today in Texas, Jocelyn Nungari will be laid to rest. 2 illegal migrants are accused of murdering the 12-year-old and dumping her body. All right.
All right.
Stuff. International Paper is an insular company. I thought it was less than. I thought it was not as insular.
As far as the macro, Jim, today, interesting. Claims down 2 straight weeks.
Right.
But continuing claims, 3-year high.
Yeah, the moving average. We have some Jean Franco does some fantastic work. I know that she's not on TV, but her moving average showed me, wow, you know what? It's going the Fed's way. It's going the Fed's way. I'm not worried.
So you do not too much, you hope. I mean, in terms of the...
No, we can't have too much.
Yeah.
Then all we're going to buy is McCormick.
Yeah. We are back below 4.3 here. It didn't really happen right after the prints.
I just think that people don't realize. We had auction. Look, here's what's going on, and I'm going to say this at the meeting today. We're just trying to figure out what the price earning multiple of this market should be. Maybe the market it should be expanding because of the Fed cuts. That it sometime within the next year, the multiple should expand. And stop sweating the program about what day, what week, and when these Fed officials come on, I'm not saying mute it. Make it lower.
Just turn the volume down.
Yeah, do not.
Just like a dimmer switch.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just think that there are a couple of ads that I mute, and when these people come on, I mean, look, what am I going to do? They have to come on. Why? For no reason whatsoever.
Exactly.
I mean, if I were Jay Powell, I would say, okay, no more Hollywood Squares. We're done with the Hollywood Squares game.
George Gobel?
Yeah, right. Done with that. Yeah, George Gobel, the lower left corner. And we're done with and I would just say to Powell, listen, the blackout, it's now been extended to every day of the year. And go do some work for him. Spend some time, do a little. How about homework? Remember homework? Do some homework. Don't come on here without. Oh no, they do a lot. They do not. I do at least. I'm going to say I do 3 or 4 times more homework than any one of those guys. They want to come and see my house at 3 a.m. See what they're doing. They're probably sleeping.
As we go to break, speaking of all this, watch bonds today. You did see yields come in just a touch as we got final Q1 GDP and claims and durables. We'll get pending homes in a minute. And after a pretty good 5-year yesterday, Jim, we'll get a 7-year today at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Maybe people want the 7. That's not my favorite piece.
Stay with us.
Yeah. Here's what I think about stay with us. Here we go. Come on, baby. Right. Oh, it's another commercial. No. How could you? Change the channel. There we go.
The American public are going to see that firsthand tonight.
How many people in Texas agree with the judge that we showed a moment ago that it's Trump's fault?
I'd say that's the minority. The bulk of people in Texas are furious. I mean, just ask these families. I mean, everybody, regardless of political affiliation, we are tired. We're done with it all. We're tired of our kids being killed. We're tired of being unsafe. Yeah. We're tired of our property being damaged. And we're tired of our local resources going to people that aren't even from here. What about us? What about our communities? Yep. So people are outraged. I can't believe she said that.
We hear it. Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate it. Always.
Thank you, Stu.
Yes, sir. Biden's open border could be leaving us vulnerable to a major terror attack. This is a ticking time bomb, and the terrorists know it. That's my take. Top of the hour. Farmers turning.
This is, I feel like, something we've heard for a while, eh? The criminals and the terrorists coming through the border. But in fairness, you hear about the attacks, and it's terrible. It's sad. Okay, so boy, I just want to stick to finance here, but it's always a little challenging to stick to the finance when you incorporate the Fox busies. So whatever. All right, so what do we got going on right now? We've got Nvidia sitting over here at 89 basis points down. Trying to figure out what direction to go. You've got BTCs over here at the 61.7. Not like the most sustained momentum in stock moves today. Now, Supermicro's got a nice little move here, but everything kind of hits a wall pretty quickly. So it's a lot less enthusing than what we've seen in the last couple days at the open, where you just get stocks that move in one direction and one direction only. Not seeing as much of that today. It's a little bit more nuanced, it feels. Now you're getting a little bit of sideways trading. I mean, HUD 8 it wants to move up here. Snowflake barely does, but HUD 8, I don't know what's going on over at HUD 8, but HUD 8 wants to move. Tesla's having a hard time. It's not good. This is not very good. It's that sucker's given up a little bit there on some love, let's just say. And so looking at a firm here, 156 on a firm to the downside. Tesla now down a full 1%. It's not great for El Calos. But let's take a look at the BTCs. You're at 61.6. And so just under that like bullish level where you could really sort of push through. Looks like Supermicro's given up as well right now. And not sure what's happening to Apple there, but now you're pushing red on Apple, pushing red candlestick on Nvidia. Ooh, now Amazon's going to push a red candlestick. Yikes. I'm not exactly sure where this anger came from in the market, but let me see. There wasn't any kind of data in just the last moment here. We got pending home sales scheduled to come out at 7 a.m. But apparently right now it looks like the trend, at least for the moment there, was trying to go down, which makes it tempting to buy puts. But then I always find it's like, did you just do the opposite of what you feel like? So it's always entertaining for trading. Look at Rivian slowly trying to recover there. I'm sorry, so it's down about 5.6. That's better than the position where it was down 7 to 8% just moments ago. Before and after the opening bell there. Looking for any other updates here on the Marketas. No. Turkish Central Bank holding rates is good for the lira. Frank will bid political risk. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let me take a look at what we have with yields. Looks like yields right now are sitting at down about 3 basis points after some of the run that we had, or some of the run of data that we had this morning. So Micron just gave up quite a good chunk here as well, so some of that bullishness went away fast. I don't know if this was just like a 3-minute ago sell-off, but right now it seems like you got a little bit of a negative trend, unfortunately. You've got BTC getting rejected at that 61.7, not great. You've got Rivian down about 5.6, that one's stabilizing, but Nvidia, not good. Nice big red candle. You don't have the increasing volumes, but you do have some increasing, looks like you're getting increasing declines in prices. But increasing declines is a funny way to put it. Apple, 35 basis points. Amazon, 34. Faraday Futures dropping like a rock. It's only up 12% right now. Only up 12. I mean, it seems good, but, you know, as a penny stock, it's like, all right. The Qs can't keep it up. I mean, you basically gave up all of that early morning rally you had there on the Qs. And looking at Tesla stabilize here, this 194 level is a really interesting spot. It seems like it likes bouncing here. Could be a spot that it might make sense to buy the dippy dudes on if you're into that sort of thing. But always is going to come down to your personal financial situation. Don't take advice from me. I'm just a dude on the internet. So yeah, look at that, getting that bounce again. That's what you saw a little bit earlier in the day as well. So not a surprise, but a lot of volatility today. I'm finding that not just on Tesla, but on some of the others. And see that over here on Micron, getting a move here. Trying to make a bottom. So you had this sort of bizarre sell-off there just for a few minutes. And then it looks like now maybe you're getting a little bit of a recovery. We'll see. It's kind of a crazy environment that we're in, so we'll see what happens. Walgreens down 24. That's kooky. Nvidia can't hold it up, and then you do have Robin the Hood that's breaking up over the 22.5 level. Tesla still holding up some nice green candles here, trying to recover. Let's see if it can actually create a run and get to 200. Just be careful. I think if it does end up pushing towards 200 today, I do think you're going to have some order books selling at the 199 to 201 level. So anticipate that. And then if you can clean up that order book, I think there's a chance you could run through 200 today. I think there's just enough enthusiasm about deliveries next week, but we'll see. And obviously the Rivian announcement. So we'll see. Who knows? Okay, so here is Rivian. I'm sorry, it's not Rivian. This is Bitcoin. It is trying to break free. I want to break free. 61.7. Yeah. Ooh, nice fat green candle on Tesla. Tesla. Oh, it's can it hold?
Gain the lead.
Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. What's going on there? At the same time as Nvidia's bleeding, Tesla goes for a running riot. All right, let's listen to Jimbo.
Jim, is it true that you owned Boeing? David, will you let me go already? Will you stop it?
One day, Jim.
Little verisimilitude.
One day we'll be back together.
Thank you.
We'll see you tonight. Mad Money, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Dow's down 30. S&P trying to take out the highs of the week. Stay with us.
Yeah. Every time you say that, you know what I have to do, right? Well, you just gotta stop. You gotta stop saying that. Just don't say that.
And Leo Terrell, he'll take on California Governor Gavin Newsom's warning about forces of darkness. That's just ahead of the CNN presidential debate. The 10 o'clock hour is next.
Yeah. That it is gonna be a poop show, and I'm living for it. I cannot wait for the debate today.
President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump.
They also better let us stream it.
Round out this week with the
I may have been up until 3 a.m. with the team suing CNN. If you want to learn more, you could go to look in the main channel.
This is Bloomberg.
Yes, go on commercial too. Everybody, go ahead, go. Everybody, just go. just leave your brother Meet Kevin hanging. It's fine. No, y'all are. I feel like they go to commercial like every 4 minutes. It's like, all right, one quick interview. All right, that's enough. Commercial. Oh my gosh, I don't think Kevin's had a single commercial yet. We need one. How about, I don't know, Coinbase. Go to metkevin.com/Coinbase. Paid promotion. Earn up to $200 just by signing up for an account. The crypto brokerage Coinbase. Paid promotion. Also got another one over here. I got StreamYard. metkevin.com/StreamYard. Go to metkevin.com/StreamYard and use the same streaming software that I do. Some people actually use it for like Teams and stuff like that as well. But I can throw little comments up on screen if we want to do that. Throw the little ticker at the bottom. Give a hutta to Tesla? All right then. Somebody says the Tesla 197 resistance is real. Were you the person yesterday who said, Kevin, there's a resistance at 197? If so, you suck. That's all right. It's all right. You know why it's all right? Because our boy BT Sizzle, is it a boy or girl? I think it's a boy. I think Ethereum's the girl. Our boy BTC is up at 61.8. 61.8, that is a break. Let's see if we can hold it. What you really need is you need about 4 more minutes of BTC here. That's going to set us up for some bullishness into the day. That actually gets me a little excited on the inside. And I'm going to start buying the dip a little bit and buying some, probably some more Tesla calls because this thing's at 0. It's probably going to go to like 3% today. I obviously, no, not financial advice, not guaranteed. You can listen to me and lose money, bro, okay? It's entirely possible. I lose money all the time. In fact, I don't even know why people listen to me at all. They just always lose money. So please, just stay away. Don't buy the courses below on building your wealth with a coupon expiring tomorrow. I am surprisingly not tired anymore, and I don't know what the hell happened. I only had half a cup of coffee, but I'm on 2 hours of sleep, and I was dead when I started this stream, and now I ain't dead. Maybe it's because your boy BTC is starting to run. I'm getting a little excited about it. Let's listen in over here. Oh! My favorite part of the
David
day.
has the morning off. Take a look at stocks, a little bit higher.
My coffee.
Morning, although we've given back some of the early rally already. The S&P adding to gains for the week, so far up 1/3%. It's kind of unchanged right now. Beneath the surface, there is strength in communication services, real estate, energy, consumer discretionary, technology stocks. Those are all up, but financials are weaker. Healthcare, materials, consumer staples, and industrials all lower. The NASDAQ composite up 0.25%. It's also been outperforming this week thanks to the rally in big tech. It continues. Take a look at treasuries right now. We had a lot of data, which we'll talk about in a moment. We also have an auction this afternoon, 7 years. The 10-year note yield, 4.28%. So closer to the bottom end of the range than the top end of where it's been lately, but had been inching a little bit higher. There's buying today, yields slightly lower, perhaps on some disappointing data. We're 30 minutes here into the trading session. Here are three big movers we're watching. Shares of Micron sliding despite reporting better than expected results and meeting revenue expectations. The company failing to deliver on some analysts' more optimistic forecasts. We're going to have much more on the street's reaction to this one. Look at shares of Walgreens as well. They're plunging after the drugstore chain missed earnings estimates, slashed its outlook. Walgreens also saying it's closing more underperforming stores due to weaker consumer spending. And then we're also keeping our eye on Amazon as the market cap race goes on. Its market cap topping $2 trillion for the first time. Amazon only the fifth company to cross that milestone.
U.S. pending home sales index slides to a record low.
NVIDIA, Apple, and Alphabet. Much more on where the stock goes from here in just a moment.
Let's get some pending numbers out of housing with Diana Olick. Hey, Diana.
Carl, good morning. Yeah, pending home sales in May dropped 2.1% month to month, and we're down 6.0%.
Oh, Tesla's cranking.
Of last year. That's a miss. The street was looking for a slight gain, probably because mortgage rates dropped back a little bit in May. This pending count is based on contracts signed during the month. Rates had spiked in April, and so we saw a sharp drop in pending sales in April. But rates fell back a bit in May, likely why the street thought there might be a gain. But home prices are still very high and still gaining. Inventory, though, continues to improve. But much of that is that some homes are just sitting longer on the market. Active listings are up roughly 35% from a year ago, but that is coming off a near record low. So keep that in mind. There is very little supply on the lower end. Most of it is on the higher end of the market. Regionally, sales were split month to month, higher in the Northeast and in the West, lower in the Midwest and the South. Sales in all regions, though, were lower than they were in May of last year. Now, the realtors are forecasting a busier second half to this disappointing first half of the year. They predicted mortgage rates dropping and price gains at least stabilizing. But, Sarah.
Oh, Tesla! Oh, it's going up!
Oh, you think what? Prices are...
I think prices are going to continue to gain. I don't know that they're going to gain much more, but I don't see them coming down very much because given the supply and demand situation, there's simply a floor under them. And as for mortgage rates, you know, they have been very stubborn in this kind of 6.5% to 7.5% range for a while now. They could drop a little bit, but I don't think enough to really make a difference for home buyers.
Yeah, not so super encouraging on the affordability front. Diana, thank you. Diana Olick on that drop in pending home sales. As far as the other data to talk about, guys, today, let's start with jobless claims because it's a Thursday. We've been watching that for any softness in the labor market. And actually, there was some good news there. Jobless claims, the amount of Americans filing for unemployment claims fell by 6,000 last week. We did have the Juneteenth holiday, so maybe that factored in. It's a bit of good news, bad news on every data release this morning. So the bad news on the jobless claims front was actually the continuing claims. So those that are recurring, that are staying on jobless claims week to week, that actually rose for the 8th week in a row. There's the number there. And it's actually at the highest level now since 2021. So it does speak to the cooling off in the labor market and the fact that there's just not as much corporate demand for jobs as we have seen. It's nothing recessionary, it's nothing super stressful or alarming, but it is a trend that people are watching. Let's go through the GDP numbers. They pretty much came in line. It's a revision of the first quarter. We know that. Beneath the surface, though, there was a bit of weakness in consumer spending. That personal consumption number, that's what drives our economy, only grew 1.5% in the first quarter. That was a revision lower from 2%, which is what we initially thought. I highlight it, Mike, because we know the consumer environment has been weakening, softening, I'll say. I'm not sure we knew it was happening as early as the first quarter. We've been monitoring more signs that that's happening in the second quarter. So that is something to watch. And then as far as the other headline from GDP, the core PCE number was revised a little bit higher to 3.7%. The main number to watch is going to be tomorrow. That's when we get the monthly PCE.
Number. Yeah,
that's what the Fed targets. A lot of anticipation for that. But it's kind of a good news, bad news kind of morning on data, don't you think?
It's been mixed. I do think that there's a real sensitivity it's been for about 2 or 3 weeks right now, to any hints that deceleration is worsening into stalling. We don't really see the evidence, as you suggest. Bonds really did rally on the 8:30 data.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of odd. You weren't sure what exactly traders were fixated on, although it was the continuing claims number.
Right.
Lower consumer spending, higher claims.
Yeah, there was some weird activity there for a moment. Like the first 5-10 minutes, like, I don't know. We haven't barcoded like that at open for a while. I haven't seen that for a hot minute. Bring it hot. Bitcoin, my boy Bitcoin, 62, baby, let's go.
That's out to, we do have this economy that's moderating in various channels. Is inflation going to be friendly enough with the reading tomorrow, where at least the perception is Fed's got room to maneuver and execute this transition toward a potential easing cycle, even if it's 1 or 2. I don't think the market is really showing a whole lot of stress about it. No. As you can see, I mean, we had this flattish index performance, really unusual steadiness at the index level, a lot of back and forth push-pull among different groups on a given day. Yes, market breadth has suffered many days, but I think that's also just sort of a function of a concentrated index where the biggest and fastest growing stocks are also defensive, and the rest of the market can kind of rest at times and not even really respond that much to macro, because it hasn't been front and center in the last several days.
Although I will say that, so Citigroup tracks, there's this thing called the Citigroup Surprise Index. They track how data releases are coming in relative to expectations. And if they're worse than expectations, the index moves lower. So we did chart it out, and it has been moving lower lately, suggesting that a lot of the data releases have been misses and have been weaker. So what this shows is it's a double chart. The bottom chart, the white, is the Citigroup economic surprises. The top is the 10-year yield, which is basically kind of stabilizing to lower, but the surprises are weaker. So that's the backdrop as far as the weaker data. The other big macro factor to watch today that I've got to highlight right up top here is the dollar yen, because there is so much drama with the dollar yen. It surpassed 160 again. It's at, the weakest level for the Japanese yen that we've seen in almost 40 years. And now there's all this talk and fear of intervention, because the last time this happened, the Japanese spent more than $60 billion in their foreign exchange reserves to intervene. They can't. It's great for their exports and actually hurts the competitiveness for U.S. manufacturing a lot. However, their import costs are skyrocketing as a result of this. They import oil, they import food.
She messed that up. I'm just kidding. I can't say anything bad about Sarah. I love Sarah. She's married. I'm married too. I'm just saying. We like her perspectives and her interviews. The day started out pretty decently here with our boy BTC. I think my realized P&L today is happy. I may have been down like $90,000 like at like 6:35, and like the inside of my heart was like diamond balls, baby. And then I did, and now my realized went from negative 90, well, because that wasn't realized, to positive 128. So let's go. We had a great day. I think that's a walk away after that. Let's go. Woo, that was a schwitzy day. But oh man, that was sweaty. Okay. So anyway, woo.
Those visiting. So it's
a lot of people on a small island, we know.
Yeah, no, they're spending a lot of money. By the way, so we get the PCE tomorrow, and then the next big time we hear from Fed Chair Jay Powell is going to be on Tuesday.
Somebody's like, damn, that's a wild reversal. Bro, man, have you ever played Friday call options on a Thursday with like 300K? Dude, it's too much, man. I'm sweating.
Of Brazil, which is dealing with all sorts of interesting.
Actually, I don't know. Did I have that much in there? I don't know how much I had in. No, it probably was like 300K. It was crazy.
To PCE numbers, and this idea of whether the economy is weakening enough to make them a little uncomfortable that would push them toward a cut while the inflation numbers are sort of stabilizing.
As
here.
some voices on the Fed have started to hint at, right? I mean, basically more attention to the
They don't
risks.
want to wreck the economy just to keep rates high if inflation numbers are benign.
Yeah.
Well, we did have Bowman this week, and now we got Bostic. For those headlines, we're going to get to our Steve Leisman. Hey, Steve.
Yeah, and a little bit more dovish talk from Raphael Bostic, the Atlantic Fed president, who is a voter this year. He says conditions will likely call for a cut in the fourth quarter. That's what he has said in the past. He's not locked into any policy path.
Bitcoin is still rising up. Not only did we get a confirmation, that's the only reason I was able to diamond bald, by the way. I'm like, I don't know, man. BTC skyrocketing. It's going to be a moment, and it's going to happen. And it did. Sometimes trading is like, it's kind of like playing Rust. It's like really high highs, really low lows. but it makes you feel alive, you know? Like, unlike the Jordan Belfort guy, the Matthew McConaughey, the whatever. I don't know. Trading sometimes is a little bit more volatile, let's just say. BTC still keeps going. That's pretty good.
Report. Inside of that, the capital spending number was negative. That feeds into GDP. Add that to the bigger than expected trade deficit. And what I'm hearing this morning are reductions in the second quarter GDP outlook. And you can see that yields have been falling this morning. Bond prices rising as a result of this. I'm not saying July is on, but maybe it's not quite as off as some people suggest, given that you do have another couple inflation reports before that, and if you do see additional weakening in the economy, which we're hearing more and more Fed officials note, that things could be changing in terms of certainly by the fall, but maybe possibility of July.
Is there any evidence?
Hey, by the way, if I could ask you for help, it would really help me out if either on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, if you could retweet this, it would help us out. We just filed a lawsuit against CNN to protect free speech during the Trump-Biden debate. So if you believe in free speech, give us a little retweetles. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Sarah. He points out that service price inflation moves and changes more slowly than goods inflation. You know, you're not going to change your accounting fees or your haircut fees quite as quickly as you might change the fees for, say, a computer or the scissors to cut your hair. So, and he says what he's hearing from the contacts of the staff are that it's getting that price, the ability to raise prices is eroding in the service sector. So that could be one place. I think we're in phase 2 here of disinflation, Sarah, where the first part was all supply, and now slowly it seems we're getting some of the bite of higher rates. Carl?
Steve, appreciate that. With the news out of Bostic, also some breaking news regarding SCOTUS today. Let's get to our Eamon Jabbers. Hey, Eamon.
A sweeping defeat here for Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family, the billionaire heirs of the Purdue Pharma fortune. Remember, there was a sweeping bankruptcy settlement that was at issue before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court now has rejected that nationwide bankruptcy settlement with the OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma, saying here ultimately that it was not fair to a subset of the victims who did not agree with the settlement, the so-called third-party entities here in this case. A lot of the victims wanted to pursue this settlement, which exempted the Sackler family personal billions from the reach, really, of the victims here. Some of the victims did not want to do that. The Supreme Court here saying that the settlement cannot speak for all of those victims in that particular way. They say it's a narrow decision, and part of the reasoning here is the flow of money from Purdue Pharma to the Sackler family, and then whether or not that money ever goes to the victims. The Supreme Court outlining the events here, saying fearful that litigation would eventually impact them directly. The Sackler family initiated a milking program, withdrawing from Purdue Pharma approximately $11 billion, roughly 75% of the firm's total assets, over the period of a decade ahead of litigation. They say the Sacklers propose to return approximately $4.3 billion to Purdue's bankruptcy estate. And in exchange, what the Sackler family wanted here was a judicial order releasing the family from all opioid-related claims and enjoining victims from bringing such claims against them in the future. The Supreme Court here...
Yeah, think about, like, it being on the Supreme Court. You got to deal with all this crap. Like, it's a lot of crap. Oh, my gosh. I mean, you got to deal with finance law, to drug law, oh man, it's just, I don't know, it seems a little kooky to me, but hey, respect for them, you know, that's crazy, and then you do that stuff for life. Anyway, you got a little bit of what looks like an uptrend happening again on Tesla here. Very interesting. You got to bounce at about 196.7. So a little past that 197. Where are you? You're out there somewhere. I know you are. Anyway, NVIDIA also tried to come back a little bit. You've got NVIDIA, had a bottom around 124-ish, but it keeps getting rejected at 125. So the momentum is, the momentum's definitely slowing a little bit intraday here. It's not as juiced as it was at the open, but I will say the wind is still at your back here on bull calls, in my opinion. It's not as aggressive of the run that we had. So personally, I'm looking at this as like, okay, like maybe bullish, but slightly smaller positioning. Like I want to see some more activity here from the BTCs. I don't know if it's like an omen thing or it's just like a confidence booster to make you do more reckless things. I don't know. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but whatever. So here's DJT also rising. It wouldn't really surprise me to see DJT rise into the debate just because I think people think Trump is going to cream Biden. Like Biden, I feel like does, I think he's kind of got the under on this one in terms of like people's expectations. So I think people are like, even Dems are like, I don't know, man, let's see if we can get through this, so we'll see. Okay, so then we've got, what else do we have here? Let's see here. We are looking at NVIDIA. Oh, NVIDIA just dropped. We got a little bit of a red candle moment there. Little bit of enthusiasm to the downside. Let's see what else we have here. So we've got... what is this? Yeah, DJT's hanging out over here. You've got, let's see here. Affirm, no movement over here. It's boring. It's boring. It's boring. It's all boring. It's all boring, shall I say. What trash? I need entertainment again. Coinbase, though, it's going to 223. Not bad. That's actually a pretty decent mover over here. It's a pretty good mover. You've got NVIDIA's given up. Not great. You don't really want to see this. You want to see a little bit more love over here. So not seeing it as excitedly. Then let's see what else. You have let's do this. Let's see. Walgreens, kind of flat now. Okay, kind of boring. Let's listen in here.
And there's many groups highly correlated to the rate of inflation, like basic materials and energy. We're not talking about overall inflation going negative. It's actually that it's going towards 2%. So there's still plenty of companies that are getting price. And as you know, the biggest pressure on many companies' margins has been wage pressures. That's cooling a lot, and gasoline's cooling, and that's really helping consumer wallets. So I think it's pretty complex, but to us, if the global economy is picking up and earnings delivered have already suggested 270 for 2025, I still think we're maybe going to be closer to 280 next year.
Tom, if markets tend to lead the fundamentals and we've run up here, to let's say 21 times forward earnings, why would improved earnings relative to expectations now lead to multiple expansion, on top of what we've already had?
It's a fair question. It's really the composition of what contributes to the gains, because if you look at S&P forward, It is high. I think forward earnings multiple is like 19, but the median is 16, and the median PE in the Russell 2000 is actually 11 times. So I think that there are going to be many stocks that can re-rate towards 20, but the PEs that are, many stocks that are at 27 PE, I mean, they could increase in their multiple, but I think there'll be a lot more juice in the 16 multiple going to 20 than there is 27 going to 28.
Hey, finally, Tom, 5 days in a row, S&P headline index and breadth have diverged. We haven't seen that kind of streak since the late 90s. Are we going to start assembling lists of analogs to the late 90s, and is that a good thing?
Carl, the late 90s didn't end well, so I think if this is going to look like the late 90s, then investors do have to be really preparing some portfolios that are appropriate for that, and that that in the 90s, late 90s, that meant to really be patient with value, and then of course be ready to exit the high momentum. In some ways, I think the skepticism that exists today, because I was an analyst starting in '93, so I saw the '90s. There was a lot more ebullience back then, and a lot more people who didn't think stocks could ever go down. I think there's a lot of top callers today. So for me, this feels a lot more mid-cycle. And I know it sounds surprising, but there's just too many top callers, especially among our institutional clients.
I love that. It's kind of like the tool of like, the more bearish other people are, the more bullish I am. And I like that. I mean, you can't use that as your basis for everything, but I like it. I respect it.
This morning, what the company CEO is telling CNBC about its outlook.
Plus, banking on the financials. What's ahead for this group in the second half of the year following the Fed's latest stress tests?
And the next generation of wealthy investors, millennials and Gen Z, looking beyond stocks and bonds for returns. We'll tell you where they're investing their money. It may surprise you.
Where are they going?
Big show still ahead. Squawk on the Street. We'll be right back.
I gotta know, where are they going? Cliffhanger.
I think that Trump will get a fair shake from CNN tonight.
No.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that he won't get a fair shake. CNN used to be a highly respected news organization, and now they've become a propaganda wing. And it really is very sad to see because, the media is supposed to be the source of information for the people so that the country can be run on the will of the people. But when the media puts its thumb on the scale, it distorts the whole system as it was designed. So, but, Trump will handle it just fine. He is made for this kind of
Is that a Tesla bounce off VWAP? Did it really VWAP bounce?
I think Einstein himself could really explain the Biden policies and why they're good.
You spent a lot of time with Trump recently. What kind of Trump, what version of Trump will we see tonight? Angry and aggressive, or more passive and conciliatory?
No, I think he recognizes that Biden will hang himself given enough rope. Just let him talk. And I think that will take care of itself quite effectively. I think you'll see a Trump who will be focused on the things that he has done. He has a record to run on, and so does Biden. And being able to compare those two records should be very telling for those people who don't normally pay attention.
You're a famous doctor. Like everybody else, you're going to be looking at President Biden to see signs of aging, signs of cognitive decline. That's the first thing you're going to be looking for, is it not, Doctor?
There's no question that that's going to be high on everybody's agenda. But even if he has a State of the Union type night, it's still going to be very interesting to hear him explain away the things that he's done. And I think Trump will hold his feet to the fire. And he will say, why is it you've been around for the last many decades? Why are you just now suddenly interested in the southern border because an election's coming up? I'd like to hear his answer to that.
Would you like to speculate on what the president might be taking to make sure he's jacked up for the performance tonight?
Well, there are a number of drugs that can be used. They're used in the diplomatic corps when people have been up for long periods of time and they have an important meeting in another country. and their biological clock is off, there are things that you can take that will really, spring you to a point where you're back to normal.
Sir, that sounds like amphetamine to me.
That's a very popular stimulant, but there are a number of medications that are useful in that arena.
Okay, you've given us very important insight into the goings-on tonight. Dr. Ben Carson, do not be a stranger to this program, please. You can come back anytime you like. Thanks, Ben. See you later.
Thank you, sir.
Whoa. Now this. Police are warning about a new scam targeting people who use the self-checkout lane at the grocery store.
What?
Hey, Ashley, what's this all about?
Yeah. Well, some crooks place what they call a card skimming device disguised as a pin pad.
Well, they do that everywhere. It could be the gas station. It could be anything. You know, this is like old news. Come on, give me something new, please. It was kind of cool listening to Ben Carson, though. I have, honestly, I don't think I've listened to a single thing the poor guy has said since, like, the COVID days, it feels like. Oh, so it's been a minute. Oops.
At the very bottom of the market, shares tumbling now down more than 22% after missing earnings estimates, slashing its outlook. Our Bertha Coombs, speaking with Walgreens CEO, joins us with the highlights, Bertha, as these conference call headlines come through, and they're pretty bearish too. We're at the point where current pharmacy model is not sustainable, according to the CEO on the call just now.
Exactly. Yeah. Sarah, Walgreens CEO Tim Wentworth.
Yeah, they're calling the GLP-1s very low margin from a pharmacy point of view as well. And then apparently it's not getting enough people to actually buy all the other crap.
Take a big reboot to turn things around here.
Because remember, like, you bring your kids to Walgreens, like you're walking out of there with a stuffed animal. Yeah, well, I guess it depends on the mood you're in.
While in the front of the store, that's really where the problems is. Same store sales are down 4% year over year, driven by consumers are cautious. He says, they are still in shock over these high prices and continuing issues with theft. Yeah. Issues, they say.
Hey, BTC consolidating. This is the walk away time, I think. I don't know. Like, none of this is personalized financial advice. I'm seeing volumes decline, and even BTC is consolidating. It's a really difficult time to trade. I don't know what it is. It's like you got the first 30 minutes and you got like the last 45. The middle of the day, it is like you'll put a trade in and it just like it because it's seesawing so much. And if you run stop losses, it just gets stopped out. And then it's hard to have diamond balls when things are moving slowly. When things are moving fast in the AM, anything can happen. Because, like, you're going up and down. You got to just wait your turn. But, I mean, look at this. Meta capped out. AMD's. Yeah, look, you're lidded on AMD. This is like a triple top on AMD on the ones. You're lidded out on Meta. You're lidded out on Microsoft's got a nice undertrend, right? Like, that's decent. So, if I just like quickly, I mean, this is, yeah, and that's not that good. Yeah, I can't, none of this is that good. But, okay, nice and slow. Like, I guess if I were going to play that, I'd be like, maybe like a next Friday call. But the Theta Decay with that little movement on this Friday, I don't know, man. And you're getting this sort of like him and Han over here at Tesla, which, okay, cool. I hope it goes up more, but it's just the lack of volume over here makes it risky. Yeah, as I say that, it's going up. But see these volume bars here? It's just, when the volume bars are this low, the candles you get just aren't that, they're not that sexy. They're just like, they're marginal.
Who do the deals with the pharmaceutical companies, with the payers, the insurers, the large employers, and they kind of determine reimbursement. Walgreens doesn't have that. Ironically, Tim Wentworth came from one of the biggest, Express Scripts. He was their CEO for a long time. So this is one of the problems for a standalone pharmacy. That said, a lot of people still rely on their pharmacist. When they leave the hospital and they have a certain protocol for their drugs.
Fair, Carlos? Fair?
prescribe something that doesn't work with drugs they're already taking, the pharmacist is really the point person on that many times. So he says they want to shrink to give them more time and really be able to boost those services in the stores that are open.
Someone's like, am I in Tesla calls still after the video you made yesterday? No, bro, I'm short. I'm just kidding. It's totally just a joke. There was like all the comments. People in the comments are like, "You gonna be short tomorrow." I'm sorry.
Stress test as investors now look toward the group's next move. Leslie Picker joins us now on set with more of what those moves might be. Hey, Leslie.
Yeah, those moves are hopefully, if investors had their way, some sort of capital return plans. That focus turns to tomorrow after the close. That's when we're expecting to get a flurry of announcements from the individual banks about those plans post-stress test. In the meantime, though, the street is digesting what appears to be somewhat of a disappointing result, which could yield slightly smaller than expected payouts. Jeffries said most banks burned worse year over year, with only Huntington and Citi faring better. Goldman and Wells Fargo could see the biggest increases to their minimum capital.
Someone says, time for Amazon puts? I don't think so. You have to kind of look at Amazon as like out of the Mag 6, it's kind of, if I remember correctly, it's like the biggest lagger. I don't know, maybe you see something I don't. I don't know. As Mag 6 lagger, that's the one you get the catch-up trades into. U.S. Supreme Court allows for now abortions to be performed in Idaho in cases of medical emergencies. I guess there are states that just remove all exceptions, huh?
Activity. Vice Chair Michael Barr said in yesterday's statement that there were 3 risks that suggest, quote, required capital buffers should be larger. Those risks comprised increases in credit card balances and higher delinquency rates, corporate credit portfolios that have become riskier, and higher expenses and lower fee income. According to Fed officials, losses from commercial real estate were similar to that from last year, so not a key driver of the larger magnitude of losses. All 31 banks that were tested had enough capital to withstand the scenario that the Fed put together, but they projected hypothetical losses of $685 billion in aggregate, guys.
So is this going to empower Elizabeth Warren and those that are saying...
Nice Palantir move, by the way, up about 3.5%. Kind of just took off from that 24-27 resistance level. Very nice. Okay.
Materially change the rules as they are written. However, absolute capital levels still appear to be an area of disagreement among the agents.
I don't know. I hate to say it, but we were just literally talking about it. I'm like, hey, look, you're getting a couple green candles now, but I'm just looking at the volume, and I'm like, that volume's going to tell me it's going to be a week up. I need rising volumes. The one that's doing decently that I shouted out right at the beginning of the day, that's still going right now. It's like the little Thomas the Train, the engine that could, or the whatever. Snowflake. You don't really have like a big volume move. It's just sort of like slowly melting up. So I don't really know what the scoop is over here, but that was interesting. And then it seems like Salesforce is going with it. So you've got sort of this like software as a service sort of play going on today. Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, these guys are moving too. So I don't know why, but it's just something I've been noticing that I haven't really talked about yet. But Palantir is an example of it, right? So Palantir, Salesforce, Snowflake, like all these folks moving together. NVIDIA, I couldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole right now. Look at this. You're basically, go out on you have to change your perspective sometimes, right? You go on to the 5-minute. Come on, man. How do you trade that? That looks disgusting. Try to draw a trend on that. The only thing you could do is you're getting lower highs, but it's just disgusting. Again, now I'm on the 5-minute, and you'll see it's a lot more obvious. It should be, at least. I haven't looked at these on the 5-minute yet, but you'll look at, where is it? Snowflake and CRM. Yeah, see what I mean? Look at that trend on Snowflake on the 5-minute. That looks nice. I like that. Getting a little bit of a decline in volume, though. And then same thing over here on Salesforce. Also pretty nice. That 5-minute looking delicious. And then I think Palantir as well. So, if somebody put a gun in my head and they're like, pick something, bastard, it'd probably be in that software side of things right now. But I really try to stay away from the middle of the day. You could slowly move up, but there've been just too many cases where like sometimes you see these slow moves up, and then you just get giant red candle, and you're like, oh, what? I don't know. So and it's usually when volumes are declining, and you could see that here on the 1 minute on Palantir. See those volumes declining? I mean, hey, you could get a big buy order up, but I don't know. Usually you see these volumes decline. It's not great. A little bit more consolidation there on Tesla. So, yeah, BTC is no longer at our back. All right. What else?
Truist is doing well today because they sold their insurance company to a private equity firm. They have lots of capital to return, and the results support that. On the less positive side, we have, Key Corp and Fifth Third that have had a little bit of a surprise in terms of higher stress capital buffers, which could mean impeding growth or buybacks or both.
Erica, Goldman Sachs down 2% today. You indicated in looking at the stress test results that might be the reaction based on the need for this greater buffer. Obviously, that's been a very hot stock in the group. But people excited about the idea of capital markets business coming back. Where does it leave Goldman at this point?
I think this is just a blip. So I think that for Goldman, keep in mind that there was that article 2 days ago that the capital increases from Basel III Endgame could go from 20% increase to 5%. And the phrase market risk getting softened was mentioned maybe 3 times in that article. And so clearly they would be ultimately the winner there if we don't have that kind of, risk-weighted asset inflation, therefore greater capital need. So I think that this could be just a blip in what could be a pretty decent longer-term story.
All right, Erica, we'll leave it there. Thank you, though, for the first reaction and some of your predictions out of the stress tests. Erica Najarian from UBS.
When we come back after the break, Micron down on its latest results with the street saying...
Yeah, we already talked about Micron. Boring.
Large institutional investors are beginning to recognize that the future...
Oh, there's a Tom Lee and a David Lee.
...with our IPO today.
Well, David, congratulations on that listing. Hope to speak to you again soon. That, of course, is David Lee of Webtoon. Let's get a check on these markets about an hour into the U.S. trading day. We'll do that with Bloomberg's Abigail Doolittle.
We're looking at a small gain for the S&P 500 at this.
Palantir starting to rotate a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of a rotate. I mean, that could just be single, but who knows? This is the beginning of a top out. Let's just say I don't like what BTC is doing, and consolidation on Tesla, consolidation on Nvidia, BTC's rotating down, the party's winding down, the music's starting to get a little quieter, the cleanup crew's starting to pick up red solo cups all over the place. Oh, geez. Why do you come up with that example? Why? Anyway, so Coinbase topped out at 223, got rejected. You got the Qs aren't really doing anything. Chipotle, after the split, just bleeds 4% to the downside. Wow, Chipotle. Chipotle just bleeding out after El Splito. Looks like that was buy the rumor, sell the news. Microsoft slowly bleeding a little bit. Yeah, see, you're starting to get that top out on sales or Snowflake as well. Topping out a little bit on Salesforce. So I'm saying, like, I'm not going to chase this stuff when BTC is not at my back. And so I always think about the, what are they called? The undeads in the Undercity. May the wind be at your back. It ain't right now. So, may it, yeah, but it ain't. So,
Like this for Walgreens ever. This is the worst move, down 24%, going all the way back to since 1980 when this company first started as a publicly traded company. They missed earnings by 7.4%. The View, they cut it for a second time in a row. They're making organizational changes. They are keeping Boots. There had been some thought that they were going to spin out that UK unit after merging with them back in 2014. But right now they're talking about spending money on that. So investors not liking this message overall. Again, Boots Walgreens Boots Alliance is plunging, down 24%, the worst day ever over the last, well, let's call it 34 years.
Yeah, just an absolute wipeout.
Oh, I love this. There's actually a World of Warcraft all undead NPC quotes.
Sylvanas, goodbye. Trust no one. Beware the living. Remember, patience.
I love that. I love the trust no one. I remember pretty good. Let me go to the female voices. Female. Which one? Female. I'm pretty sure it'd be the standard ones. Here we go.
Embrace the shadow. Goodbye. Do not seek death. Trust no one. I haven't got all day. What is it? What do you require? I'm listening. Hello? And you are? I grow weary of this. Is there a problem? I am not amused. Are you insane? I'm starting to hate you. I have exactly what you need.
I couldn't find the one that I remember. I don't know if it's...
Beware. Our enemies abound.
Anyway, I gotta go through those. I gotta clip those up. That'd be kind of funny. I gotta get the, push the button. I'm starting to hate you. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Somebody quoted it here too. Yep. I'm starting to hate you. That's a good one. I like that one a lot. That's a good one. Goody. Sounds like Nancy Pelosi. Oh, dirty. Kathy Wood interview. We'll probably post the Kathy Wood interview tomorrow, honestly. And, Tesla bleeding out. Yeah. It's not good. Palantir topped. It's as we have said. Anyway. Y'all know a coupon's expiring tomorrow. Remember to email us at staff@meetkevin.com if you have questions on how to bundle up for the courses. You've got meetkevin.com/mastermind if you want to do in-person masterminds. Those will be small group with other executives or entrepreneurs or whatever once a quarter. We'll be flying around the country for those. But focus on the debate today. Obviously, that's going to be the talk of the day. We'll see what happens with CNN. See if I'm starting to hate you for the CNN debate. I love that, right? Yeah. Van Eck officially files for spot Solana ETF. That doesn't surprise me. They're going to get an ETF for all of these, and then you'll have an ETF for all of them, right? Like everything together, which is actually brilliant because it'll be great from a tax point of view that you could rebalance between BTC, Solana, and Ethereum, and even others in the future. You'll really need about 50 different crypto securities, if we want to say it, or commodities. You'll need about probably 50 different crypto assets before you could really start getting these like joint ETFs. Maybe not that many, maybe like 20. But anyway, expiring coupon code tomorrow. Email us at staff@meetkevin.com. I think the most popular we're seeing right now is the Stocks and Psych group. People are very excited about that. They love the lectures, the intro on options, the more advanced options, the mindset shift of building wealth and making money. So shout out to JP, Richard, David, Nicholas, Duke, Antonio. Thank you so much for joining. One of y'all signed up with your email address here instead of your name. That's fine. We still love you. I'm not going to read that one out. But anyway, welcome aboard. And, Amazon's moving a little bit here. But, yeah, that's the most popular. And then the most popular bundle right now has actually shifted. It used to be Stocks and Psych and 0 to Millionaire Real Estate. It shifted to Stocks and Psych and the Gold Entrepreneur course, like the Efficiency and Productivity course. Oh, yeah. People are like, Kevin, how do you have so much time in the day? And then I go and I tell them how. Tesla bobbing around. Nvidia ain't going anywhere. This is boring. This turned boring. This was fun. The sticks were fun. Now they're not. But that's a rule. In fact, I wrote this rule down yesterday. I will read you what I told everybody yesterday my strategy was going to be today. I will only trade the first 90 minutes and the last 60 minutes. That's what we did. P&L's 6 figures today. I'll take it. Well, you all know I send an alert when I buy or sell something where I think I see a trend, and try to see that trend through. Sometimes it's not right. Can't guarantee that it's right, but the goal is just to give you some perspective. A lot of people look at it and they're like, yeah, I see that trend, and they play it differently. Maybe they'll pick some different strategies around it, or they'll hold longer than paper hand Kevin does. I don't know. They can do whatever they want. It's all up to them. You know, other times people are like, I don't know, man, I don't see what you're seeing. Yeah, so that's the whole point, is to share that perspective, what's going on out there and what you're spotting, what you're seeing. Good community, too. So Palantir wants to keep going. It's not as high as it was on the day, but it really doesn't want to give up yet. Apple's barely holding on to green. Coinbase is in no man's land. AMD... I mean, none of these are really moving right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, Snowflake. Oh, Kevin, Mr. Snowflake. What? Look at all the volume that came in, though. That's what you want. So I like it when I see big volume stick, followed by increasing volume. I don't know, man. That's pretty bullish. But we probably have to push the button here anyway. Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show should not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purpose of evaluating a security or investment decision. The spreads on those options are crazy. Products are either paid affiliations or products or services which we may benefit from. I personally operate and actively manage the ETF and hold long positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuers other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Yeah, those are some scary spreads on those options, so just be careful. Anyway, thank y'all so much for being here, and we'll see y'all in the next one, all right? Love y'all. See you. Goodbye.